Welcome to the opening statement. I'm State Representative Dianne Harden. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I truly believe that we need to make people aware the entire 365 days of the year. This evening, we're blessed to have with us Dr. Vondalyn Wright with the Fight Right Foundation. Good evening, Dr. Wright.
Hello, Repart. How are you?
I'm doing well. I want to thank you, though, first of all, for joining me. I know that you've been on this mission for a long time. I know the fight that you had. But what I'm hoping we can do this evening is to make our women and our men more aware of what breast cancer really is and what it's like and the steps one might need to take in order to get treatment or to check themselves out. So let's just kind of start with you and talk a little bit about your journey and what happened when you found out that you had breast cancer.
Oh my gosh, it's been such a journey. It seems like such a long time ago, but it was really in 2021 during the pandemic when I found out that I had breast cancer. It was while I was on the front lines. I remember us getting together on a few occasions, and I hadn't told you yet, but we're still out there just fighting. You're like, every time there's an opportunity, you bring me along to make sure that we're fighting this fight together, especially when it comes to healthcare, because you were able to get me those COVID vaccines. We were able to go in the neighborhoods together.
Yes, you did.
And make sure that the most vulnerable people got their vaccines. And I remember one of those events that I kind of said, is something I have to tell you. And I remember you just praying with me, and it was me, you, and your daughter. And you was like, when there's 3, we can make things work. And that just meant so much to me because I had so many people praying for me. I had so many resources. And so me fighting this battle, it was different because when you hear the word cancer, it's a devastating word. It's an ugly disease. It's something that in our culture, when you hear cancer, you think death. And that was what I've always done because I've always thought about. Sometimes we don't know exactly how it works, but we know, oh my gosh, this person got cancer, and then months later or a year later, they're dead. But I wanted to be a different face of cancer because I knew I had so much more work here to do. I'm in the middle of my life, I'm in the prime of my life. I just gotten married a couple of years early, and I'm helping so many people building all of these businesses as an entrepreneur. So I knew that, wait a minute, I still got more to do here. It's not time for me to go.
Not time for me to go yet.
No, not yet.
When you found out that you had breast cancer, how did you tell your family?
Yeah, first it was denial. I think most people who find out that they have cancer, it's like, wait a minute, not me. I work out, I'm young, I appear healthy. I thought I was doing everything that I was supposed to do to be a healthy person. And why me? How me? I wasn't a bad person. I'm doing all of these things, but the first person, of course, I told was my husband because I needed that support. But most of my family, especially like my sons, I waited. I wanted to have answers because from the time you find out you have cancer till you find a prognosis, like, am I going to live or I'm going to die? That's a little bit of a time lapse. So it can be either weeks, it can be months before like you get all the pathology in it, and it tells you, you know what, you caught the cancer early enough, or you don't know if this cancer is everywhere. So I didn't want to scare my sons. So I waited until I had more answers. And then I told my immediate family.
Wow. And I know that was not an easy task at all. I can only imagine how your children must have reacted.
Yes. And they're looking at me like, oh, you're telling me, but you're okay. I had to be okay when I told them because I didn't want them to worry. And I think that's how we are as people. You don't want other people to worry more than you worry yourself because truth be told, I told myself, you know what? I've done everything that I can do. All I can do is leave it, to a higher power and trust in doctors because I do believe in medicine. I do believe that Moffitt, it really was a part of saving my life. So.
Wow. When you told me, I was devastated myself. I was like, oh, come on, Father. So,
Yeah.
if we're more gathered together, we can make this change.
Yes.
I know that there is a power that controls all. And just because man says something does not make it the final word. And that's what we were standing on that day. What I'd like to kind of talk to you about a little bit is, what type of breast cancer did you have?
So I have a type of breast cancer. It's estrogen positive, and then it's the type of breast cancer that I have is fed by estrogen, and so it's and HER2 negative, which is a very common type of breast cancer, and most people. A lot of times, one of the worries and the concerns was that as an African American, we typically get a type of breast cancer called triple negative, which is really hard to treat. Not many people treat it. We don't know why more African Americans have it. It's very aggressive. It works really quick. It gets through to other organs really quick. And so I was blessed to have a more treatable breast cancer. And when I say more treatable, it doesn't mean I didn't have to go through all of the, all of the things that that cancer has you go through. I went through chemotherapy. I went through double mastectomy. I went through radiation. And right now I'm on a 5-year plan or at least a 5-year plan of hormone therapy and immunosuppression. So those are things that, that nobody wants to go through. And when I think back, I was 42 years old when I got diagnosed. What I know as a healthcare professional is that because I felt the lump, when you feel a lump, that has been brewing in your body for some time, at least 2 to 5 years. So had I went and got my mammogram when I was 40, then I would have caught a smaller lump. Had I been tested before I was 40, I could have caught my cancer early enough to not have to do all of the things that I did have to go through.
Do you think that if you have a family history of cancer in your family, then you should definitely be a person that should be maybe tested earlier than 40 years old because of the fact that it is rampant in your family?
Of course. It's one of the risk factors that I learned since being on this journey is being African American. That is a risk factor for breast cancer.
Just being
within
Black.
Itself. Just being, as with so many other conditions, being African American is a risk factor. I see so many women through my foundation. One of the things that I did when I got diagnosed with breast cancer is I knew as I guess somebody who influences other people, I knew I was going to walk this walk, and I knew I was going to document my journey, and I knew that I was going to help other people. So I formed the Fight Right Foundation. You can see it kind of right behind me.
That's right.
And with that foundation, I've found that so many young people have breast cancer. Right. And that's before they're 40, before it's recommended. Right. So I would recommend that you know your family history. And then sometimes that's hard being African American because our grandmothers, right, they didn't tell us what was going on. They didn't say, oh, I had breast cancer and you should get checked. And so sometimes we don't know our family history like other races might know. So I would encourage you to at least take a BRCA test to know if I have a gene that will potentially cause me to have breast cancer, because there's preventative measures that you can take.
Are the insurance companies not wanting to pay for that test for you to see if you have a gene that may cause breast cancer at some point?
No, the insurance companies do not want to pay for that test unless they have enough evidence to show that either your mother, if you know more facts, like if your mother passed away of breast cancer, they might pay for it. But if like us, and we don't know what happens with our history, then no, the insurance companies do not want to pay for it.
That's very, very sad.
It is. I'm glad that you're on like the healthcare committee now, so that we can work together to really just let people know of some of the resources that we should have. When we're making these laws, I have a unique perspective because I am a healthcare professional, I'm a patient, and I'm an advocate. So one of the things I wanted to let you know is I just got, inducted into the PFAC, which is the Patient Family, at Moffitt is the Patient Family Advocacy Council, where I get to let Moffitt's like high ups know what are some of the things that patients need. Because being a cancer patient, we have unique needs, and not many people know what those needs are.
Could you tell us a couple?
One of the reasons I wanted to get on that council is because when I look around at Moffitt specifically, like I said, Moffitt is part of the reason that I would say that I'm alive right now, because I went through so many different things and I had the greatest care. I had the greatest care that anyone can possibly have. But when I look around, I didn't see African Americans. I didn't see people that look like me. I didn't see young people. And I wish it was because there was no African Americans, young people, or people that look like me that had cancer, but I know that's not the case.
Right.
It's just that places like Moffitt, they are known for not being able to, or not, I guess, catering to people that look like me. And I want to change that. And so that was my reason for getting on that advocacy board, just because we have unique needs. And sometimes inadvertently, people think that African Americans don't care about their health, or they don't want to know the facts, but we want to know everything.
Absolutely, we do. We sure do. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you have coming up over the next month of October. You're extremely busy.
Oh my God.
With so many different activities. So can you run through them for us? If you need me to remind you or refresh your memory on what some of those events are, I'm more than happy to do that. You have the pink carpet.
Okay, the pink carpet ball. Oh my gosh, I partnered with another nonprofit organization and do the pink carpet ball. They've been doing it for about 5 years. I did it with them last year. And this year we have the pink carpet ball. It's where breast cancer survivors and everybody else can dress up and put on your nice pink gowns or any color you want to, and just celebrate life in a formal way. And it's this year is going to be on October 28th. So we are really excited about that.
On October 14th, you have the Breast Cancer Walk Festival.
I remember you did your radio station from the walk.
Yeah, we did.
That was, I have to say, that was one of the most mind-blowing moments I've ever had in my entire life. I had in my mind when I got diagnosed in 2021 with breast cancer that I wanted to do something very intimate and very to make everybody feel really, really, really welcome to come. I didn't want anything that people had to pay for. I didn't want anything that was so far out that people didn't want want to come. So I decided to do a breast cancer walking festival because I knew of the big walks, but I didn't know of anything right in the center of the city, right downtown Tampa, that was geared towards minorities or geared towards the underserved communities.
Right.
And so I formed the Fight Right Foundation's walk and festival. This year's our second year. Last year we had so many people, and it was so
awesome. It gives you chills. People were so grateful to be alive, and there were people there who were representing their family members who had passed away.
Yes.
It was an absolutely phenomenal event.
This year is going to be even bigger. I hope that you have October 14th on your calendar. I know you're really busy. I know you have a lot going on, but I know if you can't make it, you're going to make sure, some of your staff make it. And
it's on my calendar.
Yes. So we're gonna,
8 a.m. in the a.m.
Yes, we're going to have a really good time at that walking festival. And it's free for everyone. We do have, if you go to our website, you can register a team. And what you do with the team is you can raise money in honor of anybody that you want. And we'll honor them at the walk. And it will go towards the foundation, the monies that's raised. And it'll go towards covering some of the costs that we do have, because we do make sure that we don't charge anybody to come. Anybody can come. But of course, we need donations in order for that to happen. We're doing it big this year.
Yeah, I'll
I
be
think
there.
and all your pink.
That's right. Absolutely. I will be. And then on the 22nd of October, you have the Bust and Body Boot Camp. But it's
We call it a boot camp.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So my trainer Monique, she had been doing that for years before as well, and so it just so happened when I got diagnosed with breast cancer, she wanted to do it in honor of me, and so that's something we did last year, and that's something we're going to continue to do for years to come. So that one is October 22nd, and it's a light workout, but then it's followed by a nice brunch where we're going to have a DJ, music, and we're just honoring survivors and honoring just the cause of breast cancer. I wanted to do these events that are passionate to my heart because, of course, October, all we know is, pink, pink, pink. But I personally didn't know of a lot of things that was geared towards us. And so now we have our own stuff going. And me as a survivor, I was pulled in so many different ways last year. I said, you know what, let me get my agenda together. And so right after October, I got my own agenda together. I got my own walk. We got our own boot camp. We have our own pink carpet ball that we can come together and just celebrate each other.
Well, I know it's been it's been a difficult journey. I know because you and I share, and I just want to say to you that you have been such a positive influence in so many other, both young, middle-aged, and older women's lives, just from what you have been doing and the fact that they've watched you in this fight, and you're always so happy and bubbly. It's like, I'm perfectly fine. You see me, I'm healthy as I can be, no problems whatsoever. So I wanted to start out with you because I know that unless one has walked that journey, you really don't know.
Yeah, I talk to my nurses even at Moffitt, and I think it takes courage. It really does take courage to beat something like breast cancer. At some point, I told you my initial feeling was denial. At some point, you feel like you are in a fight. And that's why they call it fight cancer. You really feel like either I'm going to give up or I'm going to fight. And that's the only way that you can win. And so, I put on those gloves and I went to war because I knew that I wanted to stay here. And it's so easy to just say, you know what, because I think we've all, us who have had this cancer journey have had days to say, you know what is the alternative? And then you look around and you know that, you know what, I still got things to do here. People need me, and so living is the best thing. And then for me to sit here now, and I know that it gets better. And so I want to tell anybody who's beginning a journey of something like breast cancer or any kind of cancer or any kind of journey, that it gets better. It always does. 100% of the time, it gets easier. It's going to get better. And we're going to, we are humans. We're like really resilient. And so we adjust. You know what? Now I used to cry about my hair. Now I had my short hair and I loved my short hair. So like everything that you think is the worst thing that can happen, something worse can happen. And we just have to keep living, and you have to keep fighting. Another thing that I want to talk about October, I have my well opening in East Tampa.
That's right.
Yes. Right. And so on top of all of the things that I have for breast cancer, of course, I'm a healthcare professional. I'm a pharmacist, an entrepreneur. We have a restaurant that's opening. I have my well that's opening. The well is going to be a hub, sort of like you see in a CVS now, but a lot more things that we're going to offer right in the heart of East Tampa. We're going to have a doctor, a pharmacist, what else we're going to have? The insurance company, all of that in the same building, transportation, anything that you need. You're going to walk in sick. You're going to walk out with some medicine.
I know that's right. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and joining me. And before we end out at the end of the month, I will bring you back and we'll talk about some of the events that you had, how they all turned out. But for the next 3 shows, we are literally going to speak to nurses from the Moffitt. We're going to be able to talk to family members who have lost loved ones. We're going to be able to talk to individuals that were in this fight and how they are doing now. And I just think that it's so important that we spend some time talking about it so we can arm our own people of what this dreadful disease is like. So many young people have passed away. And every time I hear about one more person that's died from this dreadful disease, my heart bleeds for their families, because I can only imagine what they go through. And the young lady that you had the memorial for just a few weeks ago, her mom said she fought up until the bitter end.
She did. She did. You would never know that that the last Fight Right event we had was in June, and she was there, and she was happy, and she was, she wasn't at her best, but she did her best. She would not miss that event for anything. That's why I do what I do with Fight Right Foundation. I want to make sure that we're making lasting impressions and that all of us feel celebrated. And so that's why I will continue to do whatever I can for Fight Right Foundation. So if you're looking to support a nonprofit for breast cancer, we are here. We're here year round. We don't, like Rep. Hart said, we don't wait till October to celebrate. We have a big event in June. We celebrate women all the time. We're going to their cancer appointments with them. We're doing whatever we can to make people feel like they do not have to fight alone, because nobody should have to fight breast cancer alone.
No, I thank you so much for joining me this evening. I look forward to seeing you soon. You all, we're on every Wednesday night on Tampa Bay TV Network. So we're asking you, put some eyeballs on our show, call your friends, let them know that Dr. Vondalyn Wright will be on the opening statement, not this coming Wednesday, but next Wednesday, she will be on the network. So let's call all of our friends, let's share, and make sure that people are watching, because we're going to be bringing you some information that you can use. You all know what I like to say. I want information that will educate, and that's what we're doing here. So thank you so much for educating our community, and we're going to continue to educate.
Thank you so much for everything that you're doing.
You're so welcome.
We appreciate it.
Bye-bye.